Hello, Ann Arbor. Welcome back to another episode of the Ann Arbor Hub podcast. And we're here with a group today, and we are talking about the epidemic of loneliness.
I did a post this week talking about how a lot of us are in neighborhoods where we don't know any of our neighbors. And as a realtor, I find it really funny almost that people don't just go to their neighbors and introduce themselves and at least share like your phone number or an email or something for an emergency purposes at least. And so I feel like since COVID that things have changed in neighborhoods, and I feel that realtors are the glue to bring us all back.
So I wanted to ask someone of a different generation. You know, you are of the generation of someone who will be in college at this time. What is it like for you all? And then another person we have joining us on the show today is a licensed therapist, and she's going to explain to us maybe some of the things that she, you think you're going to be able to give us some ways that will help?
And improve connections between neighbors. But I think, like Corinne said, how was it before COVID?
It probably was the same, and I just am like blaming COVID for that. But I feel like now it's maybe even like.
But how is it for you? What do you do in your neighborhood that's different?
So I'm not going to say that I'm great with it either, because I know my immediate neighbors, but I allow the man in my life to usually get out there and meet everyone, and I'm kind of the one like in the house doing the stuff inside just because that's what I enjoy doing. But I should be out there more. I am a realtor, and I don't post in my HOA group enough, and I don't go out there and the only neighbors that I'm really good friends with are people that have children that my child plays with.
Yeah, that's kind of my thing in my neighborhood. I know all the parents who have kids.
Yeah, exactly.
But everybody else just like goes to work, comes home.
Right, and I'd like to make them feel connected. Like I feel connected to the moms.
I purposely live out of the way, so people don't really walk past my house. There's only one neighbor that I can directly see due to the situation of where I'm living. It wasn't like that before COVID. That's something I did after COVID. What about you? What was your experience? Because you were in high school.
Honestly, I would say like COVID in a sense like separated us more than we already were separated, but because I feel like the internet, ever since the internet like dropping in early 2000, I feel like that separated us in a way. Like it was just the beginning of the separation, but like now I feel like since after COVID, now it's like we were so enthralled with the internet like during COVID, so now like we're getting out of COVID, so it's like okay, we kind of have a choice whether we want to socialize or not. So especially for my generation, so I feel like when it gets time to where we need to socialize like against our will, we're kind of like, do we really want to? We really don't. So it's like, and I feel like when it comes to like trying to find a house or something, and it comes to like already having like that communication barrier, like it's just hard. Yeah, in a sense for our generation, I'd say.
I feel like for so many people, I'm a millennial, but so many people in my age group, we've failed to find a sense of community where we're at, in our neighborhoods, in our cities, and you find that sense of community online, whether it be a person that you have things in common with, that you follow on TikTok, Instagram, whatever, and you get together with the other fans of that person or that thing, and you kind of have that online sense of community. And it's harder to find your niche.
Yeah, but
there's a niche for everything online.
But like you said, it's like a sense of community, but it's not a real community because you're not really engaging with them in person. You're not really. But the whole thing is, it creates. I think it's more identifying what are the barriers to get to that point where you're connecting with people in your area, not focusing on what separates us, because we can use the pandemic as an excuse, but it's always been like this. Because I come from a different country where community is everything we do. So we knew all of our neighbors. So to me, I still do that. So leaving my other house, and Tanya knows, it's like my neighbors cried because they didn't want me to leave. But I always figure out a way to connect with them. And if anything, COVID made us tighter because we didn't have anyone else to talk to. So when we couldn't really hang out with our family because of the pandemic, we actually hung out with our neighbors. So it just depends on who you are and what you decide to do. So I think it's more, how do you connect with people without just focusing on what separates you and what's different. But it's anyone that I can connect with based on the unifying thing was that we were all
Lonely.
in a pandemic.
Yeah, lonely.
Against our will, because we didn't want to be at home. You know, we want to be at home when we choose it, but not when we're forced to do that. So I think that's what it was. So that was the unifying force. So for me, it was different because of the way that I looked at it. I was missing people, so I made sure that I connected with the people around me.
Yeah.
Why do you think that in your country that you were better at connecting as a community out of necessity?
It was normal.
It's just like
It was normalized.
It's cultural.
You know everyone in your neighborhood, literally, because economically is, that's why people come here, right? We immigrate here because the economy is terrible there. But community is not, because if I don't have it, my neighbor does. And if they need it, I have it. So it was like that. So no, we didn't need babysitters. Like, neighbors will take care of each other's kids. And so it was that's the kind of community I grew up with. So I make sure that I do that.
Like multi-generational, like the older, the grandparents are there.
So I have noticed something over, especially in the last year, and I think it's part of the problem here in America that I see more than anywhere else, is the sense of us and them.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
so real.
That's
I feel
the problem.
It's America's problem with we just don't have that sense of community that other countries do have. Like as soon as we have a house or something on the block, we don't care about getting to know our neighbors because we're just worried about having our own family and just having that house or whatever. So just that sense of community alone, that idea of community is not really indulged in American minds, I feel like. Yeah.
But I think it's always if it's not normal, how do you normalize it?
Exactly.
So it's more about what can you do as an individual to change that, because we cannot change the overall culture, but we can change by talking to our neighbors and being kind of reaching out in a different way. But it doesn't have to be of the same generation or because they have kids or because we have something in common. It's get to know the person behind it, because actually you want people that are not just the same as you to learn something new.
I've met a lot of people, Corinne and I have, as realtors, and what I can say for sure is I ask people when they're going to buy a house, would you like to buy into a community, or are you just trying to buy a house? Are you the type of person who wants your neighbors to come and ask you for a cup of sugar, or are you the type of person who doesn't want your neighbors to come and ask you for a cup of sugar? And I directly asked that because I walked into my third year in real estate. I walked into a neighborhood with my client, and my client literally looked up. She goes, I don't like this neighborhood. I said, we haven't even seen the house, and we haven't even walked around. We brought her dog. She was going to take her dogs for a walk because she just thought this was the house. She goes, no, I don't like the neighborhood. I said, what don't you like about the community? And she said, it looks like these are going to be really nice people who are going to ask me if I have a cup of sugar, and I don't really want that. And I said, so we're looking at houses that are on acre lots then? And she said, correct. And they were still the regular traditional kind of mini mansions that you would see, but she wanted one that was on an acre lot, not one that was on a cul-de-sac.
Because she didn't want to be close to
And so you talk about our social mores, right? Or is it mores? How do you say it?
You said it right.
Okay. So, what we're accustomed to, some of us are accustomed to living in a space where there are a lot of people around us, and then others of us are accustomed to just being isolated with our families. And that is something that I have to ask everyone when they want to move to Ann Arbor, for example, because you can have any of that here. You can live in the neighborhood where everybody knows your family, everybody knows your kids, especially if there's a lot of niche neighborhoods, and that's one of the things that I specialize in. It's all centered around the parks. In Michigan, you're going to want to live in a lake house, a lot of people, right? But in Ann Arbor, the parks are the lakes, and the homes that have the premium prices are on the parks. And then the closer you are to the school and the park or the parks or the playground or the particular little hidden playground that nobody knows, that's only, so big, hidden in the middle of this one community that's over by that one school. If you know, you know.
The walking trails that no one knows about.
That's right. That's right. And some people want to live specifically in those types of niche areas and communities. So we know how to, take them there, but then other people want to live backed away but kind of in a community. So it's like the difference between living in, say, Burns Park or Ann Arbor Hills or something like that. And the other thing that we've noticed often too is that some of the agents have been doing it long enough where people have lived in the different communities. And so when you, say, for example, want to move into a new space, like you wanted a community, right? And we knew the sellers of that house. And so we knew what the community was like. We're not able to talk about those things in real estate. We can't talk about it a bit. Do we know these things? Sure. But just like I said in the beginning with the first client, I said, take your dogs for a walk,
Check out the neighborhood yourself, because we are not able to put a good, bad, or any kind of label
because
on
just
a
because it's friendly
neighborhood.
for you doesn't mean that it'll be friendly for somebody else.
Correct.
So again, everything is geared toward, but I always tell people, go to the house at different times of day. Go at 3:00. Go, on
I
the
say call the
weekends.
police
Go.
and see, how you feel about
Yeah, do
what's
your
going
research.
on
Yeah,
in this
do your
area.
research, yeah.
But I always recommend people to take their dogs and go for a walk with their dogs, just like
that's a
you
really
went
good
for a walk with the kids in a couple of different neighborhoods that we looked in. But in the house that you particularly bought, you wanted a community. And it just so happened that we knew the people who were selling the house. So we were able to, at the closing table, introduce you to the people who were selling the house. And so they had told the neighbors before you got there, these are the people. And that was something that you, buyer and seller, were able to communicate and do because, but you had an opportunity. And when you went to the inspection and when you went to the this and like neighbors came up to meet you, that probably told you that you were in a community because you're in an inspection and they're coming up, to meet you. But, do we know that these different neighborhoods exist? Sure. But good is relative, and what might be a good community to you might not be a good community to somebody else.
Yeah, because it would have been a nightmare for your other client to get,
Yeah.
asked if we were going to move there.
Right. And I really don't know, like, what is going on in different spaces, but I just figure, if, directly for her, but I just figure if you buy a house on an acre, there's going to be less of a chance that your neighbors are going to probably approach you.
Yeah. And I think it's just that, since we're talking about, like, the loneliness, right? Epidemic is more, do we choose loneliness?
Right.
Because it's happening as a choice now.
Right.
Because social media has
yeah.
become this thing of like it's not really you can't really connect that well.
You're
just
hiding behind it, maybe.
We can find. I mean, I think it's a good networking thing to like for businesses and to like if you have family that are far to connect with them. I understand that, but like it will never replace true connections like face to face. It will never replace
I feel like
that.
in my generation, I think we're stuck in I think we're overvaluing the internet now over like true connection or like real life.
Well, that's why people are depressed
it's just
and
easier.
anxious and lonely.
Yeah, exactly. Like they don't understand like it is like a silent killer, but it's also like I guess it's more comfortable. Like it's more comfortable connecting on the internet than connecting in real life.
It's comfortable and uncomfortable because you're still experiencing the stress of not having human connections.
Right.
But it's becoming easier to talk to people that way, just kind of like that, texting, right? People tell people, right, text you, I'm outside, right? Instead of coming
TikTok,
in.
There's all
right?
these like internet connections.
and knocking and saying, hey, I'm here to pick you up, right? So you're losing this connect, but you don't have to lose it. But the thing is, it becomes normalized to do this, but you're still experiencing the loss of what a true community
and
feels
there's
like.
so many other ways we're losing connections every day. We as teenagers we used to go to the mall and go shopping. We would just go to the mall with no money and just walk around.
Even grocery shopping.
Yeah,
people are
you
like,
go to
know,
the U-Scan now when you
People
go
now
grocery
rather,
shopping.
Hop on the game and then hop on the mic or whatever, and then we talk on the mic. Like that's like with my generation. Like it's more. There's more community on like the internet than it is just in real life, and that's just what it is.
Okay, so 2 things. One, I used to call my daughter 3 screens because she would be playing the game on the screen and she would have one of her friends on the FaceTime, and then she would have another screen with the, with the real-time chat box that was going on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and the other thing with regarding we just text. I'm outside now. Because when I was younger, I remember my ex-husband getting mad at me if I would honk the horn. If I pull at his parents, I have to walk up, I have to knock, I have to come in and say hi to the people, be courteous with the parents and things like that. Yeah. And I'm not gonna let my daughter run out the house. Okay, Mom, I'll see you. I mean, when she's 18, she does what she does. But right now, she's like, Mom, I'll see you later. Bye. I'm out. Nope. I'll be like, who are you? I don't know them.
I am very selective with my interactions. I feel like I do have my bubbles, but hear me out. So we're here in America, right? And there's an epidemic of loneliness, but there's also an epidemic of stupidness. So I find myself doing things like going to the U-Scan to avoid the conversation with the cashier who doesn't know what a dollar coin is if I give it to her. It's
dollar coin.
It's like these things I gotta gauge oh yeah, I want to have these interactions, but I don't want to have these interactions.
$2 bill.
And like you said, and I grew up in a neighborhood where we all knew our neighbors and all that stuff. And I feel like in the 90s we had this Black History Month, so we had what I call true integration. Mm-hmm. People moved into neighborhoods. You knew your neighbors no matter what they're like, this, that, and the other. And now we have this kind of computer screen thing where people say things behind a computer screen that they wouldn't necessarily say to you in front of your face. So you have this fear of getting to know your neighbors. Are you that kind of person? Mm-hmm. Or
that's real.
Are you like us? So it's like that us and them thing again.
Yeah.
So
but they not like us.
And that song plays
so we gotta
every hour.
You gotta break it down and just kind of put yourself out there. And
but this is the issue that you're having. People want to know before they know. Mm-hmm. So you're not even trying to get to meet people because you already have this
fear
and this assumption that because I think differently than you, then we can never connect. But it's the opposite.
But I googled them before I met them.
That's what I'm saying. But it's based
Instagram.
But it's based on values, right? You have a lot of people that try that date, or let's say I know people that they send the same text to 20 different girls in the morning, right? And they're getting different responses. Let's say that, right?
Come on.
Mm-hmm. So, but there's no because you're dating.
No, you're kidding, right?
But this is what online.
Wait, hold on. You know about this, right?
But this is online dating.
Corinne,
right?
Are you joking?
So
you don't know about this? You need to use your voice. They can't see you shaking your
I'm
head.
sorry, I don't
squishing
know.
up your face.
There's dudes out there.
I thought you used to be a player in your early years.
Good morning to 20 chicks.
Or more.
They're more, and then they're...
This is normalized now. So this is what happens, right?
Because they swiped on 20 girls on Tinder and they got 20 numbers.
Yeah. So this is what happens
it's
then.
So
and then,
time-consuming. Who has the time?
It's not time-consuming because they're doing it in bulk. And
Homeless.
I think what we all need to realize
what
is
you say?
that...
Don't say that word. Whatever you say.
Wait, what she say?
She didn't say nothing.
So then this is the issue that you're having,
She's
right?
Talking about homeless people.
No, so the issue that you're having is you're sending these messages, right? But then you're wondering, and you ask to say, why am I not finding a good girl or a good guy? Because you're sending bulk messages. You're not even trying to get people to know people. And then you don't get to the dating part ever because you to hide behind the screen, right? You look good, but then people don't know how to connect with other people or talk to other people because they're going to be found out, right?
Or they don't want to.
They don't want to, right?
Guys,
so
this is so horrible.
So
hold on. You know how you go to Instagram? You know how you go to Instagram and you'll send a meme that you saw?
Yeah.
And you'll send it to me, and you'll send it to Ashley, and
so
you'll send it to...
But I'm not trying to get anything but
David
I want you to laugh, but I guess, if you're dating 20 girls.
Right. But you're not dating 20 girls, you're talking to 20 girls, right? So but when it comes down to
we just talking.
And that's the thing, nobody knows what they're doing anymore. So you ask people, are you guys together? I don't know. Nobody knows anything because nobody's speaking frankly.
No one's communicating.
Nobody's really communicating. They're just sending messages, but nobody's really
talking
Or,
about
yeah.
anything
but
else.
honestly, I think
Nobody
some of
wants to
them, like,
have an
choose
awkward
it.
conversation.
Wait, hold on. Hold on. You said they're avoiding the awkward conversation, and you said they're choosing what? Say
Yeah, I
more.
feel like I know people personally that just choose to do it because a lot of people, I think there's an epidemic, like behind the epidemic of loneliness, I think the core of it all is that people don't believe in because at the core of every connection, it's like love is there. So I feel like the epidemic is like love. Like people don't really, like with the whole, I can send 20 good morning texts and not feel a thing
No,
towards
it's
any of these
it's
women.
emotional
It's the
avoidance.
whole-
It
yeah,
is,
I
it's
feel like
avoidance.
COVID, in a sense, just emotionally disconnected, like all of us, to where like now it's like, okay, do we choose to emotionally connect now? Like now that like the internet is now like a piggyback to where like, okay, we can just choose whether we want to emotionally connect or not, but we can also choose to like have a real connection. Like we can have a connection with you, but not have any emotions behind it because we
but
choose
that's not a
to turn it
connection.
on or off.
See,
that's-
Wait, let's
That's
hear
the
from the
epidemic.
therapist because
That's
we
not
just
the
all
issue.
That's the
talking.
epidemic,
She is valid.
It really sounds like your generation has given up on the
Yeah,
hope
that's
of
like
love.
pretty much.
I don't think it's
Pretty
it.
much.
I don't
But
think
she's young enough that they're not even thinking about like having kids or getting married yet. That's not even where they're at.
I
Like
don't
they're
think-
in college.
I don't think they're giving up. They don't know how to find their way to being vulnerable. I think it's a vulnerability issue. It's not an issue of you don't choose to not want to connect because it's a human need to connect, right? So you're just choosing to not, it's like kind of eliminating part of your humanity in a way.
I
This
see
is
it
not
every
this is
day,
not an
like-
optional thing. An optional thing will be like, do I want, drapes or not? That's an optional thing, but not when it comes to human connections. And it doesn't have to be vast. It doesn't have to be a lot of people. It can be selective people, but it needs to be there, right? So whether people say they're not looking for love or whatever, like I'm just chilling, that's fine. But at the end of the day, the ultimate thing is inevitably in our humanity, we need to connect with other people to feel part of this.
So is it happening then? Would you say that it's happening like that people, we've mentioned they're scared to connect, right? And maybe some people are not
No one wants to
connecting.
get hurt anymore or whatever.
Well, but see, y'all are still young. So at my age,
Not even that. It's your vulnerability is documented forever on the internet now.
Yeah, it's like it's really
But people
it's a fear
forget.
behind vulnerability more so than like getting. It's not really about being embarrassed anymore. It's more like, oh, like whatever I do is not going to be documented forever on the internet. Like the internet is there now. And I feel like that's why I say like it's a different world than the 90s. Because in the 90s you could do whatever you want. You could fall in love and break up with whoever,
the
but it's
thing-
not documented. But now it's like
you could have
if
three
you
different
fall in
people
love,
in three different
it's
cities
documented
and nobody
forever.
found out.
Exactly.
Now they take
Exactly.
a screenshot on some other third party
Yes.
site, be like, isn't this
So
your
it's
man?
Are
like,
we
and that's
dating
why
the same
people are so
person?
selective and they
Yeah,
carry,
are
they
you- are we
piggyback
dating the
on
same person
internet
group on
instead of
Facebook?
like they'll like talk to 20
Don't
people
talk
on the
about
phone and then they'll meet up with like maybe 3 out of the 20, but that's because they're really trying to be selective because they know whoever they go out with, there could be a picture taken and boom, it's on the internet forever. That's it.
But
And
the-
then they still have
You can't
that
like
one or
date
two
freely
people they,
anymore.
like,
There's too much
date.
judgment now.
But the issue is
Exactly.
the issue is that people buy into the social media thing as if it's a need. You can opt out. Just because we didn't have it in the 90s doesn't mean that you don't have to have it now. You can just say,
But it's
I don't
like
want
it's
to
so
be in it.
normalized now, especially in America. Like
I
TikTok,
don't have it.
when TikTok
Hold on.
went down,
I don't
it
have
was
it.
like
Yeah,
the
I
world
know.
ended.
No,
Like,
hold on. Wait, Maya, hold on.
But even opting out, you got your problems. Okay, so let's say I opt out of social media and I meet a girl and she's like, I want to follow you on Instagram. I'm like, I don't got an Instagram. Automatically, I've met a lot of girls who think, oh, you don't got an Instagram? Who you trying to hide from? What you trying to do behind closed doors?
yeah, they
But
definitely-
but
they
so
think
what?
you're sketchy.
But then,
Yeah.
but then it's good because you kind of that's good for you because then if they're that insecure, maybe you don't want to be in a relationship with them, do you?
So
If I have to give you just like a person that drinks or doesn't, if I say I don't drink, oh, are you in AA? No, not necessarily. I just don't drink. I just opted out because it doesn't work for me. But I think people are afraid to opt out of things because they don't want to be that one person or that is judged, or it's not about social media. It's an evil. It's not
FOMO,
bad.
fear of
It's
missing
not. It's
out.
not an
It's
issue.
crazy. In this time of, it's more okay to be yourself than ever. I hear more people talk about fear of being themselves than I ever have before.
Right, but then it's like just be yourself then. But like you don't have to tell people
yourself.
that you're being yourself. You just
Yeah,
do it.
yeah.
Being yourself, I think.
Stop telling people what you're gonna do.
I'm not gonna
do
tell
it.
people what I'm gonna do, right? It's
Wait,
like
okay, so
Yeah.
so we passed the point where we talked about opting out. Some people, we are sitting at a table of some people who are entrepreneurs, right? And basically, of course, we're opted in, but there is a segment of the population that does not have, and I've met plenty of them who, you know,
it's what you choose to do with that, because that's a networking thing, or like okay, so I meet somebody online, but we're gonna hang out in person. As to meet somebody, that's not an issue. To network and connect with people in that way as a form of communication, it's good, because like I said, it's not an inherent evil. But if you're choosing to try to fill your cup of connection through social media or through the internet, it's never going to happen, not fully.
If you're becoming a recluse because
Yes,
of it.
because if you're using it to connect with people in person, that's a great way of doing it. Because I don't feel like it's an inherent evil. I think it's good to have social media for creators, for people that want to connect with other people. But what you're using it for matters, right? And how you use it matters. It shouldn't be your only way of connecting with people.
so then there's the part about dating apps, right? You know, a lot of people are complaining about dating apps. A lot of people say, I want to meet people the old-fashioned way. And then a lot of people on dating apps
You
say,
could
I want
say
to...
my name if you want to just say it.
No,
if
it
you're going to
was,
talk
well,
about
you,
me on the
no,
podcast.
I was tired. Some people want to use a dating app. Some people do refuse to use a dating app. And some people use the dating app to say that I would like to meet people the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, you can.
And if
it's how
peop-
you use it.
Right. And then that is kind of a thing where looking at a picture of somebody, looking at a video of somebody, and then meeting them in person, it's where a lot of people are really realizing very quickly the difference in the connections, because people never look like their pictures, and they never
So you're
look like...
because people are falling in love with a picture and a
Yeah, that's my problem with
Well,
The
it.
internet
Well-
is the core, yeah.
Well, hold on. Let me say the core. So people never look like the picture, and people never look like the video. And then when you meet them, the reason they don't look like their picture and their video is because people actually have a feeling, like they have a vibe, they have a frequency,
That's true.
and so that's why it doesn't work. You know, like literally, you have to meet like 100 people.
But it doesn't work not because of the profiles, because you have mismanaged expectations of what that is. That's not.
I love that.
That's not the issue. The issue is that you want to fall in love with a list and a picture, but that's not how the human works, right?
Your brain doesn't work that
This
way.
is just
Yeah,
like that.
elaborate.
That's a cover page of something, right? But
Yeah,
like,
what
get
did you
to
want
know
to
the
say on that
person.
too?
Girls have a narrative in their head. It might
Why
be
just
close.
girls?
It might be close to reality. I think guys just
No, both have a narrative in their head, and they both are looking. Don't do that. That's not true. Everything that a man thinks, we also think. It's just that they have.
girls are much more detailed with what they think before
I don't think always.
reality happens.
Not me. I'm not that way.
I mean, I know they say like girls work like their subconscious mind rules more so than the conscious, and then for men, it's like whatever masculine, feminine, like how that works. You know what I mean?
I'm not like most people. Not that, we're making it about us. We're talking about the general population here at GP. But, no, I live in the moment, and I think I've lived long enough to manage my assumptions.
And that's the thing. It's like we should never assume. It's like if you wanna meet somebody, just meet them, but don't make them up in your mind to be something, and then
That's what you were
be
saying.
disappointed by the
And
fact
girls
that
like
they're not
we do
that.
dream about
And that's the thing. It's like you romanticize and you all these movies and things that become toxic, because it's like you're not really even wanting to meet people to experience a different life. You want to meet people to fit the mold that you want to begin with. So then nothing is new then. Then that person cannot expose you to a different reality if you don't let it, because you're too busy focusing on what you want, not what is good for you.
So if we're talking about loneliness, right, there is also a situation where people can be lonely when they're with another person.
Oh, that's
and
deep.
that's leading to
It's
all
not
those
a real
'cause-
connection.
yeah, well, that's what happens when all of these things collide and you get married to it for years, is that you can realize, and I think that the problem is that today there were all these things saying we expect the person in our life to be our best friend, to be our travel partner, to be our workmate, to be our, house cleaner mate, to be our gardening mate, to do all the things that I want to do and love to do them as much as I love to do them. And it just
that's
really,
not the reality of life.
It's not. What I've realized at this point is that I probably have anywhere from 5, and anybody who knows me is dying laugh right now. I have anywhere from 5 to 13 best friends, but I have 5 friends that I talk to regularly, and then I have 3 friends that I see usually every day because I work with my best friends, and then I have and of those 3 friends that I see every day, they're not the same 3 friends that I talk to every day, because you would be one, and then y'all know.
If you feel like you're one of these 13 people, contact me. We will be getting jackets.
Tanya's friend. 1, 2, 10.
Look, and then I always keep that one special person who just knows to text me all the time, and I text all the time, and that's But no, I work with my 3 best friends, and and what I've realized is I'm actually a girl's girl. Like, I gotta hang out with my girlfriends because those are my best friends. Those are the people who I can talk to about the things. Those are you know what I mean? When I hang out with a dude he's a best friend, but he's not usually a best friend, you know what I mean? He doesn't want to paint a picture with me.
He
doesn't want to listen to me jibber jammer about.
He ain't in the group chat.
It's possible to find a best friend.
He doesn't want to be in the group chat. If I like him, he doesn't want to be in the group. He don't want nothing to do with all that. He wants to be chill. We want to be peace. You know what I mean?
But that in that version, that best friend will be, if that's your significant other, a guy, whatever. Yeah. It will be that they're happy that you're happy. That's the best friend part, right? That they support that you want to go out with your girlfriends and that you're happy about that. They don't have to be part of everything. They just want to, they got to be supportive, though.
Yeah. But I think it's possible to find a best friend in a guy, I think.
Oh, yeah, but I know one of my best friends is a guy. He knows
a guy that could probably,
but to
in
have
a romantic way,
but
too.
one guy romantic person who can fulfill all of the things.
Not maybe not all,
but you know
maybe
how people are trying to
paint
do
a
that.
picture. I feel like he'd want to do that if he's really, I feel like I've seen
if he wants to paint a picture, Tanya Hill is not interested in him
type thing. Yeah.
for a relationship.
I think it's possible.
Well, the biggest issue that we need
What, you think a man doesn't paint a picture?
Her man doesn't. She has friends that do, but her man.
They'll be like, "Oh yeah, I want to paint a picture with you, Tanya."
I like macho. He doesn't want to paint a picture. He wants to change it.
Paint the house.
Exactly.
I could see a Saturday date night thing. Okay, let's go paint a picture somewhere.
You guys are doing it. You guys are just
together,
talking about that.
Girl,
You're not going to catch Tanya at no sipping paint with her man.
I see those all the time. Those are so cute.
Me and my girlfriends. I got 23 girlfriends who will go to sip and paint with me, but I'm, the dude I'm hanging out with is not going to go to sip and paint.
We were just saying that women hold a big story in their head about who they're looking for. What if you meet Mr. Perfect and he's like, I want to be at Paint and Pour every night. I own a Paint and Pour.
I'm trying not to laugh.
But that's the
it's
thing.
perfect.
He's not Mr. Perfect for Tanya.
But that's what I'm saying. We're looking for Mr. Perfect.
Checked. Oh, you Paint and Pour? Oh, sorry, I cannot date it. What if?
The only thing my man has to do, and I don't have a long list, he just has to make sure my car stays running and then my garbage is thrown away, and sometimes carry something that's heavy.
So a provider.
No, I didn't say a provider.
That's not a good one.
Well, yeah,
that is not. Speaking as
provides
one of those
care,
13 best friends, that is not the whole list for Tanya Hill.
Acts, acts of service. Yeah, looking for acts of
Okay,
service, man.
Look, I don't even know. Girl.
We all have our complications, and I feel like you're right. There is nobody that checks all the boxes, but there are very important boxes that need to be checked.
Yeah.
Well, what are those boxes? Is it something that
they're different from everybody?
But I think people are also selective, now with communicate. Because I work at Foot Locker, right? So I see families all the time or couples all the time come in, and they'll even be like, even when they're trying to get shoes, like, they're still, like, selective with communication. They'll choose, like, who they specifically want to talk to, and they'll be shy at first, and I have to, like, get them to come out a little bit. And that's why I feel like there's, like, vulnerability is the core of, like, the whole loneliness thing, because it's, like, people are afraid to be vulnerable with people. Like just after COVID, it's just, like, just not even romantically anymore. It's just friendships. It's, like, hard to create new friendships. I feel like in college, I know so many people that are, like even my college best friend, she goes to state, and she feels like it's hard to connect with people now just after COVID. It's, like, hard to make friends.
But I think it's because people don't want to get hurt, right? But it's like, but you get hurt by not. The thing is, we've all experienced, and I'm a little bit older, we experience the disappointment of betrayal, but if that's the cost of friendship sometimes, because some of them are going to be good and some of them are not going to be good, but that's how you learn. But people don't want to do that anymore. They, like I said, they want to know before they know. I want to know about this person before I invest time in them, right? So instead of investing time with one person, I'm going to text everybody, right? But then you never really sitting down with one person. So you're afraid, but that fear keeps you lonely because of you already want people to be something for you. They're not supposed to be anything for you, right? They're not supposed to make you happy. Make yourself happy.
Exactly.
None of these people are supposed to be doing anything for you, and that's what you realize. It's like, is that person have similar values than me that we can connect in a different way? That's different. But that person shouldn't meet your needs in whatever need you have. Meet your own needs.
Exactly. So that's kind of the thing that I was talking about, where I don't think it's okay that you will put on one person that they have to meet all of these needs and stuff for you. I have a lot of needs. I have a lot of things that I like to do. So I have to keep an array of people who want to do those, because some people do not want to do the thing. You know, one person doesn't want to go to the shooting range. You know, another person doesn't like Cedar Point. I don't either. Guess what? We can go to Cedar Point together and we can walk around and watch the shows or carry the big tall glasses or go to the beach.
But you have like a variety of people that you kept over the years. So I think speak more about the investment that it is to have friendships for this long. A lot of people don't want to do the investment of it.
And do you want to
keep friendships alive for that many years?
People don't want to invest time at all in themselves. Going to school, nothing.
But they want the reward. We live in an instant gratification. People want the body without working out. People want, they want the certificate without
popular.
We want the friendship without having to be nice to each other. And
or keep up with the friendship. Friends are like, you're not calling me, you're not texting me. My phone ain't ring or ding me neither.
The phone works both ways. A couple people.
Or we're texting all the time. And when's the last time we linked up?
Like, that's the same
Do
thing.
you feel like we're quicker to cut people off, like, from our hearts? So, like, because with friendships, more now than ever at this age, I feel like when there's some kind of craziness going on, a lot of people will just be like, this is done. I'm not talking to you anymore. And we could have still probably worked through it, but we're like so over trying to get.
I think it just depends on what friendship. Is this person repeatedly, going against your own boundaries? Is this a pattern of that person that you gave it so many chances? That's different. But if it's like a new relationship, is completely different because you got to get to know that person before you just
but are we making ourselves lonely by cutting people off too?
Okay, well, hold on on that.
That's a different one.
I can't speak on that because I've been cutting people off since the 90s.
Look, she might be speaking to me, so I'm gonna give it to her.
But setting boundaries with people that are toxic is different.
Yeah, that's
because you're not cutting everybody off. You're cutting off people that no longer that you outgrew. That's different,
and
right?
And it might feel lonely not to have that comfort anymore.
But
it's not toxic.
But what kind? Yeah, because it's like even the emptiness of noise can cause a lot of disruption in your own self if you're not used to it, right? So being quiet when there was somebody that was always crowding that space, then it becomes that. But it's just the absence of something that wasn't good for you. But that's different than you cutting people off just because you decided to, even though they didn't do anything. That's very different.
You're doing it for peace.
So what I will say about that, Corinne, to answer your question, Corinne, I'll say that sometimes I've realized this happens you will see a situation in other people several times. You'll see the same situation in other people. So by the time you see the fourth person who's doing the same thing that these other people have done, and it might not be that person who would do it, but you automatically are triggered and you react. And you're like, but I saw 3 other people do this thing to me, so this fourth person seems to be doing the same things as they can. You know, and I don't know if that's right or correct or anything, but usually it just really seems like
but the thing is, you're saying like 4 people did the same thing too.
Yeah, like you'll meet 4 people and it's like, it's the same pattern.
PTSD, basically,
but the
friendships.
but there's a pattern that you're allowing in your life then.
So to answer Corinne's question, created boundaries. In conclusion, where do we want to leave it at with
say hi to your neighbor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't be afraid
Connect.
to connect. Yeah.
Say hi.
Get vulnerable.
Yes.
Try to forgive and to realize that we all have a lot in common, even when you think that we don't. I think that just this loneliness and possibly where I talk a lot about ambiguous grief, where there's probably 3 people or a pet and 2 other people in your life that you're sad about every single day, and everyone is not feeling their best or their top or their whatever, and that's everyone. And I think we feel so lonely and so isolated. But the funny thing is that's the thing that keeps us together. That's the thing that we all connect on. And so we got to be able to talk through our grief, talk through our pain, talk through our whatever, and stop being so afraid to be rejected by each other, because that's keeping us lonely.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, absolutely.
I just think that when somebody tells you who they are, you should believe them.
First time,
My Angelou. I mean, is that proper with this whole lonely? I mean, I'm just saying, if people tell you
so proper coming from a tourist.
I want to be lonely. I'm going to be lonely. There it is.
My mom.
Stop talking to me, everyone. I just told you I'm lonely.
Oh my god.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. If people tell you that they don't want you around, then maybe you should go.
No, you should do it for your peace.
Well, what do you
The epidemic is chosen.
Hold on, wait.
That's so final words.
It is in a way, yeah.
So the person with the letters at the end of their name, who is the expert here at the table, can you please, explain, like, if somebody tells me that they enjoy being reclusive, I say, I support you. Would you like to hang out and not talk for a few hours?
Well, that's just respecting their space.
Okay.
And they're okay with you being there without talking, then it's fine, because there was a communication prior to the meeting up and saying nothing. So that's the problem, that people don't communicate how they feel anymore. They're too afraid to be themselves because they want to be whatever you want them to be. And that makes you miserable in the long run, because then nobody's being honest about who they are.
And they can't keep it up.
And they can't keep it up, because then it's like, then you're like, oh, well, you're nothing like I thought you were. Yeah, because you wanted me to be something that I wasn't.
Back to the made it up in their head.
Yep, and
What's
the
your final
judgment.
words?
My final words are, it's Black History Month. Desegregate your life. We work in real estate. Unredline your life. Get to know everybody. Plan an event in your community and get it started. Don't, procrastinate.
Like our Juneteenth roller skating event that we're going to host at Burr Park.
We're trying to put together a Juneteenth Afro skating party at Burr Park. So
We still got to talk to Reconette.
Yeah.
If you're listening,
we're going to get it together. Cause
we're going to be donating some of the tickets to some of the local kids. Reconette, hit us up. I mean, we'll hit you up. I mean, we're going to hit you up a couple times. Please and thank you. Please,
we're going to be on your head, on your afro.
We're just trying to show Ann Arbor love. You go ahead and tell us from the younger person's perspective what you got.
Oh yeah.
What's your closing?
Don't be afraid to be yourself, and don't be afraid of judgment, and to be vulnerable, because at the end of the day, like, being vulnerable is the gift of humanity, and it's the only thing that really causes people to come together, and like in romantic ways or just friend ways, or just to get you to buy a house. Like, you can get the best house if you have like a great connection with your real estate agent. And it's really that simple.
That's true.
Like, it's all about just having the lack of fear to be vulnerable. So
All you need is love.
period.
Exactly, yes.
The
That's
Beatles.
all
Shout out
it
to the
is.
Beatles.
Yes.